Thanks for joining us. Now, the Eastern Region Security Council says it is reinforcing security presence in Kwahu to protect lives and property. This follows attacks by some nomadic herdsmen on 3 communities, which left 10 people dead. Many others have fled their homes. Eastern Regional Minister Eric Okwache therefore told Joy News as police work to secure the area, he is also consulting with community leaders to find a lasting solution to the problem. We'll be deliberating on these issues a bit further, and we've been joined in the studio by security analyst Adib Sani to help us do that. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning.
So I believe from yesterday, this issue of, well, way before yesterday, this issue of nomadic herdsmen and them clashing with community members within the country has been brought to fore. What is your view on this stance that the Eastern Region Security Council is taking?
Well, first of all, let me state emphatically that the issue of nomadic herdsmen clashing with local indigents is not exclusive to Ghana. It's spread across the West African sub-region. Indeed, Fulanis are found in almost every single West African country, from Liberia to Sierra Leone to Ivory Coast to Burkina Faso. But the diciest has also been in Nigeria, when in the 13th and the 14th century we had the Fulanis moving from present-day Senegambia region all the way to Nigeria. They became family with the northern Nigerians, but because they are nomads and they move with the weather, they come down towards the coastal belt, and there's always a tendency of them clashing with the local population. That is exactly what is happening in Ghana, and a lot of lessons can be learned from other West African countries. Let us go beyond just the rhetoric and walk the talk, because in the past we have had in Ghana Operation Cowleg 1, 2, 3, 4. Not much has come out of it, and we seem to concentrate on the face value of the issue on the ground by just constricting ourselves to arresting 1 or 2 persons. But we should go beyond that. Let us look at the nitty-gritties of the matter. Let us look at the matter from a holistic perspective, the socio-economic and geopolitical, and even in some cases, the cultural dynamics that breed some of these conflicts. So for me, I think, first of all, it is only imperative that we do proper engagement and get to understand the facts of the matter. By understanding, we should be able to appreciate and contextualize and come out with practical solutions to the issue. And I'll tell you what.
And before we go into some of these practical solutions, what you are saying is that the Fulani, the nomadic herdsmen menace is not a security issue?
It is a security issue, and it's assuming a developmental issue. Okay, and let me also state that I have a problem with when people say Fulani menace or nomadic menace, because not all of them are a menace, and I find that that statement inciting. So let us be very clear about that. And not all Fulanis are nomadic people. We have sedentary Fulanis.
Which is why we use
in
the expression nomadic herdsmen.
Exactly.
In the first
you see, the problem is, because they come into contact with this local population, there is struggle for scarce resources, source of water, and because we have diverted the lands that hitherto was used for pasture into agricultural lands, it is very limited, and because of other socio-economic factors too. As a result, they clash with them, and because of that conflict and our inability to manage it, it degenerates into belligerence, and that is where we have the local people feeling that the security agencies, the country has turned its back on us. So the only way we can go about things is to defend ourselves. And because of the availability of locally manufactured guns in the country, estimates put it at well over 1.3 million in the country, people don't hesitate, taking advantage of the situation to arm themselves, and in a quest to defend themselves, end up aggravating the situation. So it is a major security developmental issue, and it's important that in handling it, we go beyond the hard security way we look at things. Let us look at it from the United Nations Development Program 1994 definition of human security. That includes environmental security, food security, political security, community security, rather than just constricting it to just arresting 1 or 2 persons. And stakeholder engagement is very important. Just yesterday, I was with the leader of the Fulani community in Ghana, Sheikh Professor Osman Bari, and he was lamenting over the fact that there was a mission, there was a team that was supposed to go to the area and that was supposed to meet with stakeholders in Nkoko, and he only had the information yesterday morning when the meeting was supposed to be yesterday morning. At the same time, I was with the assembly member of the electoral area in the Kwahu region, and he was also lamenting over the fact that, look, he just received information that there's a stakeholder engagement, and he now picked his phone and he was calling the chief's left, right, center. So
this was a bit poorly organized?
It was very poorly organized, and I'm sure we don't really have a full appreciation of what is going on there, because, believe it or not, some criminal elements, from what I have gathered and from the people I have spoken with on the ground, are taking advantage of the situation to perpetrate their own criminal activities. And I'll tell you what, the recent deaths of about 5 Fulanis, it happened somewhere around 3 a.m. And when they were killed, some of them had their heads severed, their hearts taken out, their kidneys, their livers. So it looked more like a ritual. That is why I have not minced words in calling on the security agencies to not just go on the ground and ensure, what do we call it, interim peace, but we have proper investigation done and the proper prosecution would follow. Then we would be building more confidence in the people of the area.
Do you think that with how you've described the process so far, it would yield any solutions, any permanent solutions to the problem in the Kwahu area?
Well, you see, the issue is we have to not just look at the solution, but a sustainable solution. And humans, by our conflicts, from the little conflict analysis we have done, conflict is naturally inherent in us. You cannot do without conflict. As a matter of fact, in some situations, conflict is good. But if it is not well managed, then we would have issues of those conflicts degenerating into belligerence. In Nigeria, they tried a sustainable solution, and that is with the introduction of the 2008 grazing bill that sought to demarcate a corridor of some sort for the herdsmen. Something similar is happening in Kwahu with the allocation of about 2,000 acres of land. They call the
ranches.
Yes, the ranches, also called the fodder banks. Okay, but these Fulanis are not using it. But we've not really taken the time to ask ourselves why. I've spoken with someone or two.
Mr. Sani, before we go into that, what I was asking is that, do you think that what is happening now and the allocation of more security officials, the work that is being done by the Security Council, do you think it constitutes a permanent solution?
No, not at all. We need to first of all have a strategy. However, it is normal protocol that if we have belligerence or bloodshed in any part of the country, you put more troops or security personnel on the ground to, in the interim, maintain peace, just as we have in other parts of the country. Recently, I heard the curfew in Bunkpuru has been renewed. That is not sustainable peace. That would also only ensure interim peace. So I think they should go beyond what they are doing of putting troops or security personnel on the ground and rather engage the people more. Let us have a bill on animal husbandry. Let us look at creating a corridor for them. Let us look at ensuring that we subject them to security checks, because information reaching me indicated that some of these Fulani herdsmen are they have highly sophisticated guns they move with. Let us look at how possible or feasible it will be registering all of these people coming into the country with their livestock, so we can keep track of it. But let me also indicate that many of these Fulanis are not necessarily outsiders. Okay. The earliest Fulanis were identified in our first census in 1911. We have second, third, fourth generation Fulanis. So many of them are Ghanaians, and some of them are doing great things for the country to move us forward. So let us not always relegate this to politics or sending people out.
Again, the reason for referring to them repeatedly as nomadic herdsmen rather than just Fulani herdsmen. But thank you very much, Mr. Adib Sani, for your input into our conversation this morning. He is a security analyst.